welcome home.
Cause this is how we do it in that 713. My candy red paint cocked up on foe. Shocking and body rocking cause the south side.
All right, welcome into Sports with Balls in an early edition. Got going a little early. People got things to do on this Thursday.
Yeah, buddy.
Things to do. Look, guys, welcome into Sports with Balls. I'm Jeff Michael, joined by last week's co-host as well, Mike Scarborough. What's going down, brother?
Man, it's good, man. It's one of those days. Just blessed to be here. Good here. Get on air and talk to you guys and see what's going on in the world of sports.
Yeah, man. One of the great things about this show is we do get to get on here and just BS for a little bit. You know, you get to get away and have fun. And it's called Sports with Balls because, man, we just talk about whatever.
That's good. I like that because I'm all about talking about whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so like, what happened to you the last week? This past weekend, you watched the games. I know you sent me messages. But what happened after that? What was your reaction to the games this past weekend?
Man, I was blown away. I mean, I was wrong on a few of the deals I picked on, but I couldn't think of a better game to watch than when the Bills and the Chiefs. That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Rachel on yesterday, she called it a sportsgasmic weekend.
Yeah.
And I mean, sportsgasm or whatever. I was like, that's a good way to put it, man, because that was,
Sportsgasm.
I mean, dude, for all of you people that went against the NFL last year, screw the NFL, we're not watching bullshit.
They came on. They brought it. They brought it. Yeah,
watching the NFL because the weekend before that, it was 111 million people watched.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this past weekend.
It had to have been, yeah.
I
I mean,
bet it was
definitely
way
an
more than
increase.
that,
If you weren't watching, I mean, everybody was watching it, but it was crazy because I remember you saying when that the 49ers and Packers, like, you know what, Jeff might be right. I think Garoppolo is going to pull us off. My brother's like, dude, all he does is win.
That's crazy. And we're going to get into that in a little bit, man. Welcome in Lucas, my boy Ted, Kevin Anthony. What's going down? Man, Kevin Anthony sent me this stat, and we're going to get into it in a minute. It's unbelievable, man. But look, we're down here at Christian's Tailgate. We're going to be here for the next hour and a half. Y'all welcome in on 2000 Bagby. Get over here. Incredible food. Best hamburgers in Houston. Drink specials all evening long, man. Thursday nights go off. Oh, you just got to turn the volume down. It's all
My
good.
bad.
No, you're all right. Today's show brought to you by attorney Brian White, man. Got the best phone number in the business. When you're injured for any reason and need real results from a real attorney, call attorney Brian White, 713-500-5000. We talked about this before, man. You cannot take cell phones into jail. For those of y'all that have been to jail, you know that. 713-500-5000. That's some easy.
505,000. That's all you need to know, man.
I mean, if you can't remember that, but look, man, he specializes in wrecks and motorcycle accidents, anything like that. Call attorney Brian White, man. He is on point. Also, got my roof done this past weekend by the most incredible roofing company. Just got their license in Nashville, Tennessee as well. Fitz Roofing, F-I-T-Z roofing.com. You know Corey as well.
Oh, yeah.
Owner Corey Fitz over there. Incredible, man. FitzRoofing.com, making a difference in serving people, driven by their commitment to the community, focused on building relations, not just revenue.
Yeah, buddy. I hope to see Corey soon, man. I haven't seen him in a long time. So
they've been working on their stuff in Nashville, and I think they just got their licensing agreement up there, man. Yeah. Man, he's killing it. Just they do an incredible job, man. They knocked. I don't have a small roof, and they knocked it out in one day. They cleaned up, got all the nails. You know, I mean, a lot of people, worry about trash when you get your roof done.
Right.
They nailed it, man. It was unbelievable. You know what they did too? I have a little shed in the back, man. Well, it's not little. It's kind of big. And I have a heavy bag in there and some weights, and I had the old Rocky thing where I filled up the gas things with water and do the curls, man, so he put a roof on there, a new roof on my little shed, and he put ridge vents across the top.
There you go.
I was like, that's that special touch, man.
Nice little venting for you when you're in there pumping iron,
in the summertime. For sure, man. It was dope, man. So,
that's cool. That's awesome, Corey.
Fitz Roofing, man. They're on point, man.
Yeah, bud.
All right, man. Let's get to some sports, man. Let's get this show started. Give me some music, man. Let's rumble.
Hard when I swing through H-time. Cup full of oil and an orange kush sweet. Cause this is how we do it in that 713. My candy red paint cocked up on foe. Shocking and body rocking.
Yeah, are you loud enough?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Can y'all hear me? You hear me?
Yeah,
good?
yeah. All right, what's going down, man? Welcome into Sports with Balls. I'm Jeff Michael, sitting over here with one of our guests from last week, Mike Scarborough, former University of Texas wide receiver and former TCU wide receiver. What's going down, Mike?
Man, just hanging out here at Tailgate with you guys, man. Just getting ready to talk some sports. Let's do it.
You know, right before we jumped on the show, because yesterday, Major League Baseball Hall of Fame came out. David Ortiz got in, and Barry Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens did not, along with a few others, man. And it was beyond frustrating to me, man. Beyond frustrating to me that this is a museum that holds records and that the guys that hold the most records are not in. Yeah. And it's very frustrating. And you had some comments, too. You played professional sports. What was your thought going through this or when you heard it?
Well, I kind of anticipated it because it is the sports writers' opinions. You know, they're the ones that put them in there and whatnot. And man, look, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, we all know those guys are lions. You don't have to tell someone when you're a lion, right?
Yeah.
They know they're a Hall of Famer, but they didn't play the game to be in the Hall of Fame, from what I'm understanding from Roger Clemens. But, I mean, those guys, they'll get in at some point. I mean, look. The guys are performing at levels unknown to man
they can't
nowadays.
Anymore. This was their 10th and final time, right? So now
it goes through another.
Yeah, so they've got to go to the Veterans Committee.
Right.
All right, you need 12 of 16 votes from the Veterans Committee, which is harder. It's a lot harder. Now, what I'm hoping is in today's age with social media and the uproar that it's caused, look, they waited 9 years. Right?
Yeah.
Both of them, without the PED suggested use, both of them are first ballot Hall of Famers.
All day.
So they've waited 9 years.
You know, and when you say what the period we're going through with COVID right now, we don't know how long these guys have. I mean, you know, they're already in their 50s, right? They deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They should be recognized for it because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring, especially with this virus, whatever is going on. I don't know if it's the principle of the matter, what the sports writers or whatever, but how can you not let him in? I know people are like, oh, well, they cheated. Well, you know what? Roger Clemens went up against the federal government, and they said not guilty. So I'm not going to have a popular response from probably people on how I feel about it, but that's just because when you've been in it and you know what's really going on, other people don't. They're not going to believe anyway. So it doesn't matter. If you haven't been there, usually when they talk about war, if you've been in the war, you don't talk about war. If you haven't been to war, everybody talks about it. So I know what these guys are doing to keep their bodies up. I mean, shoot, they're primetime athletes, so let it be.
Desmond Porter, what's up, man? Ain't something you for showing mad love on the show, along with Kevin, Anthony, Chewy, Lucas, Ted. Appreciate y'all paying attention. Throw your questions out. Myself, Mike Scarborough, try to get to them as soon as we can. You know, I went on a 20-minute rant yesterday on the show about this because it's very frustrating me. I watched Barry Bonds. I watched Roger Clemens. And those are the two main faces. There's a few other ones. And, you know, you let David Ortiz in, who already tested positive in 03 for PEDs. And you've got a couple of other players in there with suspected. And these writers, let me tell you something. They don't know who used PEDs. They have no clue.
No clue.
No clue. The Mitchell report was all BS. It only focused on a few teams. You have no idea who used PEDs. The reason you're not letting in Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens is simply the fact that you don't like them as a person.
That's it.
That's it.
And that's such a weak way to keep somebody out. And a lot of people are they have a lot of opinions on this, and it's like emotional opinions. But you got to look at the body of the work. These guys are freaking beast of the game. The other point I want to make on this: baseball was tanking in that era.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, stadium attendance was down, ratings were down. All right, these guys come in. Whether there is the ball, whether there's a player, I don't know. I don't care. But that next thing you know, stadiums are packed. Everybody's loving the long ball, and everybody still loves the long ball.
Yeah. And we saw this past year.
They saved baseball.
Baseball manipulated the baseballs. They even admitted to it at the end of this year. They manipulated baseballs to make them go further. All right. They hardened the center, and they even had a few of them this past year sneak back in because they did it the year before, and because of COVID, and I think it's in Cuba where the baseballs were made. They had a shortage of employees, so they used some of the long balls that they've been mixing in, and so basically, is that not cheating?
I guess
they're manipulating the baseball.
I mean,
I just, man,
what ball do I have in my hand? What the pitcher doesn't know, the batter doesn't know. But heck, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, not at all.
It's entertainment, right? We don't hold actors to that same level of scrutiny if they take some type of performance
Not at all.
but they're entertainers, and so are the baseball players, football players, basketball. They're all entertainers. We watch to be entertained, just like in the movie The Gladiator. Are you not entertained?
Yes.
I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time. favorite scenes of all time because that's what these guys do. They entertain us. They're freaking gladiators.
This is just
man.
this is just 8 of his most incredible stats. But this is just some 14-time All-Star, 7-time NL MVP. The closest person to him has 3. All right, 7. So take away 4, still a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
8-time Gold Glove winner, 12-time Silver Slugger, career home run leader with 762, career MLB walks leader, 2,558. That'll never be broken.
Never.
If there's a video out circulating around when they walked him home in a 2-run game.
Right?
You should see his face. He's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Why are you doing this?
If that's not, you deserve to go in the Hall of Fame. Bases are loaded, and you
Bases,
walk him home.
they want to sacrifice the one for 4 because that
golly.
dude was pretty much pelting him out of the
Single
yard
season-
anytime he got his pitch.
Single season home run leader. Yeah, and that's the thing. Nobody pitched to
No
him.
one pitched to him.
But when he knew when it did,
Boom.
he hit it. And you know how hard that is?
Well, not to him.
Yeah. Only player with 500 home runs and 500
And he
stolen bases.
smokes the ball when he hits it. He did it when he weighed 189 or 190 pounds, and he did it when he weighed 240. That dude just straight up smokes the ball. And people that play baseball and play at that level, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, top 3 player of all time. I just don't understand why these writers, and I'm hoping that the Veterans Committee can somehow get this correct. I don't know if they can or can't, but I'm hoping they can.
Hey, we're changing rules for just about everything else nowadays. Why can't they change the rule for that? I mean, come on, these guys deserve to be in. It's a huge debate. I know it is, but in my opinion, it's not a debate. Those guys need to be in. And Roger Clemens, I don't know what Barry Bonds is doing out in the community because you don't really hear anything. He's never really been in trouble.
He was a hitting coach last year or the year before. I know that.
Well, Roger does so much in the community now. I mean, the guy is all over the place, raising money, doing things for the children's hospitals and things like that.
Yeah.
And, whether it's humble pie, I don't know what it is, but that guy's a good dude. I had dinner with him about 2 years ago with my dad, and the dude picked up the check. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I know that's not a big deal, but we should have picked up his check, but he beat us to it. So, he's a good dude. He's a solid guy doing good things in the community. So
I agree.
man.
I agree. Barry Bonds. This is what my buddy Kevin sent me, man. Check this out.
I like Kevin. Kevin's awesome.
David
by the way.
Ortiz, man, career OBP 380, right?
Yeah.
Barry Bonds' career OBP. If you turned all 762 of his home runs into outs, 384.
What?
If all 762 of his home runs were outs, he would still have a better OBP than David Ortiz. Bro,
Wow.
that is insane stats, man. It's a travesty, bro. It's
Think
an
about
absolute travesty.
Think about what managers had to do. Barry Bonds factor. He's in the lineup. God, how do you pitch that guy? I don't get, man. Unbelievable player. One of my favorite. Dude had speed, had an arm, could hit the ball a long way. Great
Incredible to
ball,
watch.
stolen bases.
Incredible to watch.
All
Incredible
around great
left-hand.
athlete.
Yeah, man. And
Unreal.
there's pitchers that have been tested that are in the Hall of Fame that have had PED use. This was not just everybody points at Mark McGwire. I get it because Mark McGwire went from and he wasn't skinny. Mark McGwire was a big dude,
yeah.
but then he went to
Like mammoth, like 280.
huge, man. But don't tell me you weren't watching the All-Star game in Boston when he was just cranking it over the Green
450.
Monster.
Yeah, absolutely.
500 home runs. You wanted
him
to.
and Sosa. That was the prime time. I mean, literally, these guys literally saved baseball. We should.
Yeah, man.
I think we should be thankful for them. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, well, they juiced up. Whatever.
Eric
Were you
Gagne.
there? Were you there?
Eric Gagne went from barely a fourth starter in LA.
Yeah.
Barely could make the starting rotation.
dominant.
To one of the best relievers of all time.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
1 year. Tell me.
Yeah. How?
How? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna question. I mean, whatever.
Um,
Dude, I just like watching these guys play, whether they're doing whatever. These guys spend so much money now on their bodies, and what they put in their body, it's amazing. So I think we should just appreciate them for what they are. They're athletes. And yes, they are human beings, but you know what? They chose to play sports. They chose to be in that arena, and we should be very thankful that we get the opportunity to watch these guys play.
They need to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
I really don't give a damn if you put an asterisk by it. Put them in the Hall.
Yeah, I'm
I
cool
don't
with
care
that.
if you put a little asterisk in it. I really don't, man, because there's going to be a lot worse things that come around. Like in baseball, you got the Astros cheating scandal that came up, right? So how is that going to affect them moving forward when they get into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
And there's people out there, like I was talking to our producer Jason a minute ago, that don't understand PEDs are not just juice juicing up, right? Adderall in baseball and all the sports. Adderall, Ritalin, those are PEDs.
Yep.
Those are considered performance-enhancing drugs. It's not necessarily just steroids that are PEDs. So there's all forms now in all sports, and it's unbelievable that they left these guys out. And I'm praying that when the Veterans Committee votes later this year, that there's enough backlash to let at least these two guys in the Hall of Fame. Because Roger Clemens is a Cy Young leader, and Barry Bonds is one of the top 3 guys that's ever played
all
the game.
time, right?
So, it's just, Pete Rose. That's we could have a whole show about Rose. I love Pete Rose. Like the Big Red Machine, Cincinnati. All-time hit leader. Look, the all-time hit leader's not in the Hall of Fame. The all-time home run leader's not in the Hall of Fame, and the all-time Cy Young winner is not in the Hall of Fame. You guys have this all wrong.
All wrong. I want to ask you a question though. Let me ask you a question, and other guys out there, and ladies, do you think Pete Rose would actually be able to play in this day and age? He was just a single hitter.
Yeah, I mean, he hit for average for sure. But yeah, I mean, he could rake the ball.
Yeah, but
all-time hits leader. I mean, there's like some people said that Pete Rose was the greatest player to ever play the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
was it because he was Charlie Hustle, or was it because he was just a slap? He just slapped the ball and got on base.
I don't know.
I mean, it was a little bit of everything. I know that.
He
but
was
I'm
a
just
great
saying,
teammate.
Yeah.
He was an incredible teammate.
Everybody loved him.
Everybody that played for him, with him, said that he was, Charlie Hustle. The Big Red Machine, Pete Rose. I mean, dude, he kept that team going. He'd run over there's all kinds of videos of him running over catchers.
Yeah.
Sliding into home. Like, he wasn't dirty. He was just rough, man.
The gambling was after he played.
Yeah, the gambling came afterwards for sure. And
Good point.
It's the same thing as the PED use, and it's a thin line. And he's the all-time hits leader in baseball.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Right.
Like, I don't care. Put an asterisk by it too.
Yeah,
like
I'm
that's
good with
fine,
that.
man. Like, I don't care. But the Baseball Hall of Fame is a museum. All right, is a museum for the history of the sport.
Right.
You cannot leave out
people like that.
people like Pete Rose,
Barry Bonds,
Roger Clemens, man. No. It's just all there is to it, dude. All right, man.
I agree, 100%.
All right, that's enough for the
down
rant
with
of the day. But I could go on for so long about that, man. We'll go on to another one. Here's a hot topic, man, and this is going to come up. I'll be the first one to bring it up. We don't talk a whole lot of NBA on this show. LeBron James is 109 points away from passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the all-time points leader. That's only 3 or 4 games, and when he does it, it's going to bring up this Jordan versus LeBron debate. And I mean, it's going to happen at this weekend probably. He scored 33 last night, and this is regular season and playoffs. But that's massive. That is a huge stat to break.
It is a huge stat, and I'm gonna have to go back to the old school. They play defense.
Yeah,
it's just a scoring game now. There's hardly any defensive schematic or defensive involvement whatsoever. So I think that's an asterisk. I mean, as far as points against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was playing in an era where they just mauled each other, so it's a skewed stat. How many years has LeBron been playing?
The game changed. Yeah, and LeBron's been in the league already 18 years, I think. He started very, very young, but I'm not a LeBron hater, but I'm not a LeBron fan.
Yeah,
I think it's his antics off the court and maybe some on the court that drive a lot of people crazy. And it's another one of those where I don't think people really like LeBron because he wasn't Michael Jordan and that he didn't act the way Michael Jordan acted. And it's almost like he's not humble. He called himself the king. When you have to label yourself, that's kind of, I don't know. LeBron's a great basketball player.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
No doubt.
Obviously we can debate top 5 of all time. Some are going to say he's the best of all time. That's just that we could talk about the LeBron versus Jordan.
Oh, dude, that's
for
a whole
days.
show. That's
a whole show. Yeah.
And honestly, it comes down in that debate. It comes down to what era you grew up in.
Yep, absolutely.
There's a bunch of old heads that say Kareem's the best.
Yeah.
Our generation, Michael Jordan.
Jordan.
The young kids, like my son, like he's like LeBron James. He loves LeBron James because he doesn't know, And then, Jason just said Kobe Bryant. Yesterday, the 2-year anniversary. R.I.P. to him and his daughter and everybody on that helicopter. But. It's generational, right?
Yeah,
it's generational.
Well,
there's going to be another great player that's going to come by.
I don't know about you, but Walt Chamberlain's my favorite.
Oh, well, he played with a bunch of 6-footers.
Yeah, but
Wilt Chamberlain was like 7'1".
He's got a record that no one's going to be able to break.
Oh, dude, yeah, Wilt was dope, man. Yeah,
wink, wink.
You're off the court record. All right,
For
man.
football.
Let's get to some NFL and what happened today. I just wanted to bring up those, couple of stats and a couple of things before we got into NFL, because NFL is what's hot, man. The Denver Broncos today hired their man, Nathaniel Hackett, right?
Who?
Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator.
Coordinator.
This is really interesting, right? The Denver Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett, offensive coordinator from where? The Green Bay Packers. Who's on the hot seat over there in Green Bay? Aaron Rodgers. And Devontae Adams.
And what
they're
do they
way
need?
over the salary cap.
And what do they need
A quarterback
for their team?
Denver needs a quarterback. So this is the hot thing right now. Will Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams follow Nathaniel Hackett over to Denver?
I didn't think about that, but now that you say it, that sounds really good. And like for a head coach to be able to bring his quarterback and primetime target, that sounds like a pretty good possibility.
Well, so here's the thing. Look, Matt LaFleur, being the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, he's the offensive coach. Like, he's the one that's calling the plays. I don't know exactly what Nathaniel Hackett did as the offensive coordinator, but Matt LaFleur was the play caller in Green Bay, 100%. But it brings this really interesting dude. If Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams go to Denver, they're immediately Super Bowl contenders.
Already in there.
I mean, immediately. And the Denver Broncos are $22.5 million over the cap. They hold both of their contracts. They could extend Devontae Adams, but they would have to trade. I think they'd have to trade Aaron Rodgers. They have both their contracts, so they'd have to work something out.
Have to give up something for
But
Aaron.
if I'm the Denver Broncos, whatever you need.
If I think of, and Aaron kind of alluded to it on the radio. I think I heard him talking about it. He was waffling about the idea, whatnot. I mean, I guess it depends on his relationship with the head coach, as far as what he wants to do. But that sounds like a pretty good deal because he looks checked out, in my opinion, at Green Bay for some reason. After the game, when he walked off, went through the tunnel, it was just like, I'm checked out here.
He just did his little
like deuces.
See you later.
Yeah.
It's my mistake. Devontae Adams is set to hit free agency in March. So
even better.
Yeah, so they could sign Devontae with, a package deal, and they're going to try to package that up. I mean, because that's Aaron Rodgers' number one wide receiver. You could bring a wide receiver with you.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's huge.
And they already have Courtland Sutton. They've got a couple of ballers over there at the wide receiver position.
This is something I hear a lot. Like, well, they got to learn a whole new offense. Blah, blah. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
They just call it different. That's it.
You're going to have the offensive
just
coordinator.
call it different.
You're going to have the offensive coordinator, the quarterback,
and
the
receiver.
number one wide receiver.
Yeah.
So you don't have to learn a whole bunch.
No, you don't. It's seamless. And the guys that are there at Denver are going to be able to pick up on all the new stuff that they're bringing because it's not new. The schemes, the plays, the route trees, and all that. It's just like when they call a play, it's literally like this long on a piece of paper, right? It's just different names and different words and different letters and whatever. It's all the same. So I don't like when people say, oh, well, they're going to have to learn a whole new offense. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're going to hit the ground running. That's how the NFL is designed.
Yeah, you played wide receiver, UT and TCU, had some records at TCU for a while. But look, you even said to me after we saw that Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, basically just came up with that play, right? And he said, if he goes this way, I'll go that way.
Right.
So you messaged me and you were like, this is exactly what I was talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So
and you know what
plays in the huddle.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was a quarterback.
Because you're a bad A quarterback too. And so if you had a semi-bad A guy like me that knew defensive schemes.
Yeah, they've been doing it all game.
That's what made me good because athletically I wasn't like godly fast, godly strong, or tall or whatever.
We were playing.
But I knew how to read a defense. I knew what they were doing before they did it.
We were playing for the district title in 1994, and the Suns coach was one of the wide receivers, right? And he comes into the play in the huddle, and he calls the play, and I'm like, no,
I'm not doing it
because it was a post route to him, and I was like, no, dude, that guy's he's all over you. And I think he had caught like 2 balls for 30 yards all game, and I was like, no, man, we're not throwing that route. And it was like 40 yards away. I needed a touchdown, and I ended up doing a play action pass and a naked bootleg, and my buddy Jason Lohner did a wheel route, and I threw it to him in the end zone, and it actually hit his hands, but he dropped it.
Finger-tipped it?
Yeah, I mean he dove, it hit his hands, and he dropped it. But man, I tell you what, the head coach
was
oh my God, bro. Like, I mean, I remember everybody was upset because we lost. You know, we still made the playoffs. We just lost the district championship. And, like, we were trying to get on the bus. We were all sitting down right by the bus. And the head coach, I mean, he's just walking back and forth, steam just rolling out of his ears, man. But I knew what the defense was doing the whole game. I was like, man, that's a wasted play. Like, what the hell?
Right.
But,
how frustrating is that as a player when you know the play that they would just called in? No, let's not run that play.
Yeah.
I want to call this play. But that was so cool because I saw during the game. I even told you guys, everybody who were listening, always watch the tight end. Because they're setting up that play the entire game. And if you watch how that whole sequence ended. Now, granted, they do have Tariq Hill. But did you hear what he said on the field with Tariq? Hey, Tariq, if we get that look, I'm going to do this first. And then Kelsey set himself up for his own touchdown. That was pretty cool. But that's how it sometimes go on the field. And head coaches do get mad because they get paid to be the head coach. But when you have players like that gel and they have that ability to communicate.
You're not going to get mad at Mahomes. And you're not going to get mad at Mahomes at all for calling that. And any other a player like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Look, Tom Brady is the offensive coordinator for the Bucs. Like Bruce Arians even said that last year at the Super Bowl. He's like, Tom calls his own plays. He runs the offense.
And when you play 22 years in the NFL and you're still playing quarterback, that's kind of that's pretty much what you're brought in to do anyway.
He knows every player by position. Like, you know, I know that guy.
He knows how to manipulate the defense by calling the audibles, and he already knows he audibles into what the defense is weak at because of personnel. It's fascinating. I can get into all that stuff.
For sure.
I bet Kevin Anthony, a couple of those guys, Kevin, and I see guys make comments when I watch. But Kevin seems like a guy that we could sit around.
He's a football head. He can get on it for a while. If anything LSU, bro. Like he'll go Kevin, at it for LSU.
By the way, LSU showing up. I mean, you got freaking Burrow, Chase. And
LSU's on fire.
Who's
Tyrann Mathieu, who, by the way, yesterday I was wondering about his status. Tyrann Mathieu practiced today, and that is a massive step for Kansas City. Because I don't think – I said this yesterday. I don't think Buffalo would have got those 2 touchdowns if Tyrann was back
Different defense without him out there.
Yeah, 100%.
And the players even say that about him.
Yeah, I think that would have been a different thing. But, yeah, man. So Denver got their coach. We're going to wait and see with the Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, because it's the offensive coordinator from Green Bay, obviously. Next up, though, the Chicago Bears come in with their new head coach, the ex-Colts defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, as their head coach. This is interesting, man, because the trend of the NFL right now is coaches that have no head coaching experience. And that's mind-blowing to me. And like, I know it's not. I said yesterday that it was a done deal, but you also have Byron Leftwich. He is going to Jacksonville. You know, he's an offensive coordinator, or was at the Bucs. And Tom Brady's the offensive coordinator over there, so he has no head coaching experience. It seems the trend is going towards these coaches that were either obviously offensive minded. I mean, granted, Eberflus was a defensive coordinator, but no head coaching experience. Even the interviews with most of these coaches.
Well, look what McVay and the Shanahans and those type of guys have done. So, I mean,
this is the trend now.
It's a trend.
This is a trend in the NFL. And the trend that I don't want to spend too much time on the Chicago Bears with Matt Eberflus because, honestly, I don't know about that hire.
Yeah.
And I don't know how Justin Fields is going to do. I don't know much about him. I've never known the Colts to be some unbelievably defensive-minded team, you know. So I don't know. I mean, he obviously impressed them enough, so that's good enough. But the next coaching decision that was made that I heard out today, great news for Kevin Anthony and some other Cowboys fans out there. Their boy Dan Quinn is deciding, after probably 6 different interviews, he's deciding to stay put in Dallas, where, in my opinion, the defense was the biggest step that they made, and I think the defense probably kept them in a lot of games this year.
Yeah.
And so it would have been rough if Dan Quinn would have left.
I kind of like the idea of having a defensive-minded head coach, because a defensive-minded head coach knows how to attack or dominate the offense, right, by watching scheme and whatever. So they can basically be the I don't know what you want to say, for the offense coordinator or whatever they bring in. The relationship is that, hey, I'm going to beat your offense, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so you design your offense, your schemes, and things like that against the defense, right, every week. And if some things people probably don't know is, like, teams bring in guys from other practice squads or whatever, they get released, free agent, because they just came off the team that they're about to play. They bring him in for a week to run their defensive schemes or offensive schemes. So the defensive coach, in my opinion, is a key part of when they become head coaches.
You know, it's funny
because they know the offenses. So
we're gonna get into these games coming up this weekend. People fail to realize how bad Kansas City was the first 6 games of the year. And people had written them off, like, Pat Mahomes lost it.
Right.
You know, and I think it had a lot to do with the defensive coordinators and how they were playing them. Now, I think that they changed up their schemes a little bit. They started doing dink and dunks instead of bombs.
Right.
You know, so
a lot of crossing.
Yeah, a lot of crossing instead of throwing it, opening up the field. I think you're going to see a different look this weekend, and it's going to be fun to watch because if people remember, the first 6 games of the year were not fun at all for Kansas City.
No.
They were bottom of they were last in their division.
The thing I noticed about Kansas City when I was watching that game, that offensive line looked like they were dialed in. There was something about because I've watched some games with Kansas City where the offensive line was just getting trashed. I don't know if they were not communicating or if the defense was doing something that they hadn't seen before, but they were really gelling in that game. Now, granted, Mahomes made some spectacular runs by getting out of the pocket.
You can't account for that. That first quarter, he ran for like 45 yards.
Yeah,
in the first quarter.
First quarter,
I don't think the defense planned for that. They're like, oh shit.
No, but you got to remember they were going up against the number 1 defense.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, exactly.
So for that offensive line to hold up against the number 1 defense like that, I mean, did Mahomes get sacked?
Was that the worst? I don't know how to look that up. Was that the worst loss for the Buffalo Bills? You got to understand that wide left, wide right, 4 Super Bowls that they lost.
I mean, that close.
Bills fans, bro. I saw some of the videos of the bars in
They're
Buffalo,
just,
and I mean, they were like 13 seconds to go. They're
like,
throwing, tearing the bar down. 13
then,
seconds later, it's like,
how did you? Wow. I don't know about you, but I was actually watching the game in bed. That's embarrassing.
Me too.
But did you not jump out?
Screaming.
Did you jump out of bed?
I said this on Monday's show, man. I started screaming so loud, my dog starts barking. He's like, rah, rah. Like, what's wrong? I woke him up from a dead sleep. Incredible football, man. It was so much fun.
For whatever reason, I really thought that Kansas City was actually going to come back. I was like, they're going to pull this off for some reason. Anyway, against the number 1 defense, blows my mind. I don't get it.
An incredible.
You've got to make a stop, by the way.
I'm going to read you this stat right here. This is absolutely insane. But speaking of Pat Mahomes, the Chiefs are 3-1 in playoff games when Patrick Mahomes, when their in-game win probability dips below 5%, meaning in the whole game they have less than 5% chance to win. They're 3-1. Less than 5% chance
just
to
pulling
win.
off miracles.
They're pulling off miracles. The rest of the NFL, 1-38 since 2018.
Wow.
That
I think he likes the drama.
You cannot give Pat Mahomes what? You thought 13 seconds? There's no way. No, so there's 0 seconds you can give Pat Mahomes.
It seems like he thrives in those moments. That's when he really comes alive.
He passed for more yardage in overtime, in the fourth quarter and overtime than Garoppolo has the whole playoff.
That's crazy. They won that like 21 points scored within like 21 seconds.
There was 5 lead changes. 5 lead changes in 2 minutes in overtime.
If you're Josh Allen, you're like, dude, what do I have to do, man?
Yeah. Way to go, Kansas City, for donating. It's $13 because it's Josh Allen's number. So they donate. Everybody that calls in donates $13 as charity. They're up almost $300,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
that's cool.
He put on a hell of a show, man. There was no. That's. You can never win by losing, but man, like the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, like they won,
right?
But they lost.
They lost. There's always a silver lining.
Crazy.
Hey, and let me before we move on from that,
let's go.
Kansas City, right? Tight end play versus Buffalo tight end play. Buffalo's tight end led the NFL in receiving receptions. Okay, was pretty much non-existent in that game, especially in the fourth quarter. And people are like, well, Mahomes won that game. You're right. Okay. The coin flip won the game. Well, you're right. But the ability to control the end of the game and the offense being able to move the ball has a lot to do with that tight end. And look who scored that touchdown at the end, Kelsey. Yeah. So we already talked about how they play that on the field, but that's how important the tight end play is. And if you look at the other winners of the NFL games, all of those tight ends showed out with at least five or more receptions. And the reason why that's important, it opens up the middle of the field. It makes the defense soft, opens up your run game. You can't get double teams because you get double teams. Anyway, it's awesome. I challenge people, if you want to watch a game a little different way, and if you're not already doing it, watch how that tight end is playing.
Yeah, I mean, like definitely used in a different way. And even in the Los Angeles Rams victory, when Kupp ran up the middle of the field, it's called "You Love Football" route, you're never going to get thrown that ball.
Right.
That's a clear out route.
Yeah,
clear out for
right.
OBJ to come across the middle. Yeah, and it's one of those things, man. Yeah, if you watch it, and you're like, wow. I mean, Stafford read it perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's what his quarterbacks.
They knew that. They knew they were probably going to get that look. I don't know, because the defense guys the defense coach had plenty of time to get the right call. They called a timeout going into that play. I don't know how that safety did that. I don't know what he was doing, but man, I'm going to throw another maybe a small little tidbit fact out there. Cooper Kupp ran a 4.65 in the 40 at the combine.
Yeah.
Okay, 4.65. You know how many people tell me they run 4.3s and 4.4s?
Yeah. And nobody catch him.
But so he did run a 4.65. Most overrated measurement, in my opinion, in football.
Yeah, like Jerry Rice never got caught from behind,
Right.
He wasn't the fastest guy on the field, but why? Why didn't he ever get caught,
Game speed.
When it's different if you have Tyreek Hill speed. That's something that's another level. Like you can't throw peace signs to people when they're in front of you. That's just
you ain't gonna walk me down. Yeah, he does have 6 speed, but that's just that.
By the way, that should have been a flag. Shouldn't have counted.
Taunting?
100%. That's what they put the rule in for that.
Yeah.
And whatever. Look, real quick, Aaron Rodgers, next team best odds. I've got 2 quarterbacks here that are going to blow your mind. The Aaron Rodgers, the odds of him going to Green Bay, -110, staying at home. Denver Broncos, +150, which we already talked about. It's a good idea. Number 3, Pittsburgh Steelers, +300. Number 4, San Francisco. That would be interesting, +700. Number 5, the Indianapolis Colts with Carson Wentz. That guy, dude, just, man, wow.
Yeah, what a poor guy.
Plus 1,100, man. And then Deshaun Watson, bro. They've come up with stats or lines for him where he's going. Number 1, Dolphins, +250. I thought that deal was done, but apparently not. Panthers, that would be unreal.
That would be. That'd be a good fit.
Oh, with Christian McCaffrey?
McCaffrey,
Whoa, dude. Eagles, +400. Broncos, +500. Vikings, +600. Steelers, Washington football team, whatever, 700.
WFT.
Steelers again in the mix at 1,000, and Saints at 1,500. Now,
so you can bet on that?
Yeah, you can bet. So look, I was thinking I would throw $10 on the Saints.
Yeah, why not?
Alvin Kamara.
You're not going to lose.
Like Deshaun Watson and the Saints,
Yeah.
they already got a great defense.
It's good.
I guess now they got to come up with a head coach though.
Well, I'll put $10 on that. No problem.
I think it'd be great.
Win $350, right?
I think it'd be great. Yeah, I mean,
what was the odds on that? Plus 350
for the Saints was +1,500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean,
You can afford a trip down
Bam.
to LeBurge or
you
Lake
get
Charles.
some good gas money for a week. All right, man. Look, thank you guys for watching us so far, man. Having a blast here on Sports with Balls. I'm sitting with a good friend of mine, Mike Scarborough, Scarbs, as they like to call him, former wide receiver at University of Texas and Texas Christian University, the
Horned Frogs.
Horned Frogs. I
Man,
mean,
they've had some change over there.
you think that like Washington football team, when they're coming up with a name, you can look at like the Horned
Horned
Frogs. I mean, you got to come up with something better than that, right?
What is more intimidating?
It's not an intimidating
Well,
name at all.
the frog, it spits blood out of its eyes, allegedly, a horned frog. So that's, I don't know if you ever watched their games. They got their helmets now. They have their special helmets where they have red eyes. So that's kind of the whole idea behind the horned frog.
They might have came up with that.
Well,
Just so it's intimidating. Like, oh, by the way, somebody Google that. See if a horned frog spits blood out of its eyes.
Is a longhorn intimidating? They're kind of lazy. They grain. I mean, they got big horns, but they're not really that active of a cow.
I mean, I guess.
You ever seen Bevo on the sideline? He's like, why am I here?
I mean, it's better than the, what is it, Oregon State Beavers?
Beavers?
The Beavers?
What
That's
would be
not an intimidating animal.
No. What would be the most unintimidating?
We'll have to look that up for next show.
Next show.
What's the worst? The Gophers? The sloth? The sloths?
That's actually one.
I don't know. Is there a team out there named the Sloths? Like, is that?
I mean,
man.
Cougar's cool. Tigers.
The Sloths, they
You know?
could be the Eagles, I guess. They slow play.
Kevin Anthony, who are the three guys that balled? Well, Leonard Fournette. That's right. Chase, Burrow, and Leonard Fournette. They kind of
and
showed
Tyrone
out.
Matthew.
Tyrone Matthew.
Matthew, however you want to
If any
pronounce it.
Alabama guys are out there, put their Alabama guys up against the LSU guys in the NFL. I'd like to know that because everybody always talks about the Alabama guys.
LSU showing out for
They
sure.
are showing out.
But, real quick on the transfer portal, over 2,000 players now. And like I said, guess what teams are on top right now in recruiting and transfer portal? USC and LSU. That transfer portal is brutal.
Money,
bro.
money.
USC is going to be Alabama West, real quick.
Yeah, that's just the Wayfair unadvantaged. If you've ever been to USC, number one, beautiful campus. But now these guys are going to be given all kinds of opportunities. I mean, it's freaking California.
Yeah, dude.
Think of all the endorsement, all the companies are going to be coming, chomping at the bit, offering the world. All they want to do is get you there.
Yep.
All they want to do is get you there. Okay,
Yeah, unbelievable. We'll get into college football later.
Yeah, that's going to be scary.
Can't wait. All right, man, let's get into these games this weekend. Man, I highly doubt that we're going to be able to, best last weekend. And is there going to be an upset? Last weekend's upset was the San Francisco 49ers, obviously. And I'm just in shock that Green Bay went down and that Aaron Rodgers, they scored a touchdown on their first drive. Nothing. They had a field goal after
Nothing.
that. Like the entire game.
And the weather
just
was
laziness.
perfect for them. They live up in that stuff.
It was wild.
I mean, I don't know. I wasn't expecting high-scoring game in 1-degree weather.
San
but-
Francisco goes into Dallas, the massive underdog.
and time zone
beats
change.
Dallas. Yeah, that's huge too. Beats Dallas and then goes into Green Bay in snow and negative temperatures and wind chill and beats Green Bay. Now, the line sits. This is the evening game at 5:30 on Sunday at only -3.5 in LA. Man, something throws me off here. Dude, and
Red
I'm gonna
flag.
say right.
Red
Like,
flag.
huge, and I'm gonna say this. Y'all are gonna flip out. Garoppolo might pull this off, dude. Nobody wants to hear
I know, but you called it last
Nobody
week.
wants to see
You
it,
called
dude. But
last week,
Vegas
too.
knows something, man. And I think there's some stat out there already that says that in the last 5-6 games they've played, they've run the ball 200 times and gotten 800 yards and 8 touchdowns, and they turned the ball over 9 times. They know this Rams team, man.
Right.
They know.
They're susceptible because it's high powered, throwing a lot of passes. So, yeah, that's going to be tough, man. But then again, Stafford is. We talked about that last week.
But
He
Stafford
has
is known to choke.
I know that's what we're talking. He has
Known
those
to choke.
moments where it's just like, what did you do? That's 4 picks. You didn't need to force that one.
Y'all think
So-
I'm crazy, but dude, I think the Chiefs are gonna revert back. I think that was their Super Bowl. I think that the Bengals will pull that out, and you're gonna have a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. What was it,
Whoa.
1993, 90?
Back in the Icky Woods Shuffle
Yeah.
day?
It was Cincinnati, San
Who
Francisco.
was the running back in 93?
I'd have to look it up. But
golly.
and Sean McVay is 3-7 versus San Francisco, man.
3-7.
There's power in numbers.
God.
And Vegas has this line sitting at 3.5. Bro,
Yeah,
that's scary, man.
Yeah, I'd like to see what
Everybody's
that's like game
jumping
day.
on LA.
Yeah, I bet. Absolutely got to.
Why?
Why not?
They fumbled the ball 4 times.
Yeah, and then Stafford's probably due for one of those things that he
Yeah.
likes to lay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And you're oh man,
Man,
I don't know.
But what did I? What,
And that stadium will be
Packed and
with
rocking.
49er fans, dude.
Right.
It's all over the internet right now. They're trying to block them from going. Dude, watch. You want that will be the stadium with a bunch of fights.
Yeah. Oh,
they're
yeah.
Gonna, they're going to get after it in LA.
toe. What did I tell you about the Bengals? Though, there's something about them, man.
Yeah,
I hope they keep going. That's going to be my upset. Would be the Bengals or the Chiefs, obviously.
You're going to pick the Bengals. I mean, yeah, that would be.
Yeah, that's my upset.
Well, it's weird. Rachel said yesterday these lines should be flipped. So the Bengals or the Bengals Chiefs game is Chiefs -7 right now. And she makes a good point where it should be
God, that's
flipped.
a lot of points.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, I think a lot of smart bettors are taking Bengals plus the 7,
Yep.
right? In a playoff game, divisional playoff game, the way the Bengals are playing right now. But on the flip side of that, they didn't play that well. The Bengals barely got out of there with a win, man.
They squeaked by.
They
did.
barely got out
but
of
they
there.
made the plays they needed to make.
Yeah, and
So-
it's interesting.
I want to stick with the defense this week. The defense. This is the and I hate saying these things like, guys, you hear it on the sports talk shows all the time. The only way to win is for the defense to show up.
Yeah.
But you know what? For this week, the defense gonna have to make a stop, just like everybody's talking about overtime. We're like, it's not fair. No, man, you have to make a stop. You have to make a stop, a big stop. So I'm looking for defense to be the ones that step up in this game.
The first 7 weeks of the season, y'all forget this. The first 7 weeks of the season, the Chiefs were 3-4.
That's yeah.
And
Right.
they lost to the Ravens, they lost to the Chargers, they lost to the Bills, and then they got crushed by the Titans. And, you know, in those wins, they barely beat the Eagles. They barely beat the Browns first game of the season, and they killed Washington, who's a terrible football team. And then, obviously, after that, they went on to beat the Giants, Packers, Raiders, Cowboys, Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, Steelers. Man, people forget that at the very beginning of this season, the first 7 games, it was all about Pat Mahomes, like, it's over.
It's
like,
yeah,
the
he
whole
lost.
thing's breaking down. The whole system's breaking down. And it's because they were trying to do that old system. Defensive coordinators had found out you play the cover 2, so you throw 2 safeties back now against them. Well, they figured that out, and they started doing these crossing routes. Now, I forgot who the defensive coordinator is for the game on Sunday, but if the Bengals defensive coordinator can figure out now how to take away that middle, because we see Tyreek Hill go up the middle now and catch it, that's where he scored on the peace sign.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
if you can block off that middle,
It's going to be tough
It's gonna be
because if
difficult.
Kelsey's in the game, they're not going to allow that. I mean, because they have to account for Kelsey, and that's what we were talking about. Whenever the offense coordinators, defense coordinators at halftime, they get together, they see what they're doing. They're scheming. They're scheming in those first 2 quarters,
Yep.
so that they can see what kind of looks they're getting, and then it becomes anyway. As long as Kelsey's in the game, then it's going to be really hard for them to take that away. So they're going to – I know they're going to try to find a way, but we'll see. Now, I will like to see them get somebody on Kelsey instead of them focusing on one of their secondary or third.
Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
Pringle, Hardman.
Put someone on them just to disrupt him off the line or get him off of
Get him
his
a
rhythm.
bump.
Yeah, got to get him off his rhythm because right now, I mean, he's just running free out there. So, yeah, that's going to be an interesting game.
And that's another guy. Like, I think the Chiefs, if you go back and look at some of those wins that they rolled off 8 in a row, I think it was, man, they got lucky a lot, man.
I'd rather be lucky than good sometimes, though, you know?
There's one play where Kelsey juked five defenders. I forgot who it was against. Maybe the Raiders, and like went in for the scoring touchdown. And that never should have happened.
No.
Like, never should have happened. I just think that the Bengals are playing with that, maybe that kind of that confidence and that it factor. And I understand that Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are on fire right now, but if they're smart, they'll take away those crossing routes and make them beat them over the top again.
Yeah.
You know, because those crossing routes, that's how they've won all these games.
And, you know, we were
I think they're only 12th in the league in scoring when they were first because they were bombing people away. But they're not that explosive offense like they were.
Right.
Now, obviously in the Bills game, and I told y'all, like, none of that stuff should have happened, really. Like, it was a fluke game for the Buffalo Bills. 13 seconds? Come on. Like, that's crazy. But I don't think that this is going to be a lot closer game than I think 7 points.
You think so?
Yeah, and I even think Cincinnati may have this, dude. Like, we'll see. I understand Kansas City's on fire. Like, I really understand that, but I'm not ruling out Cincinnati, man.
Man, I had Patrick Mahomes as my 4th. I guess last week when you said I had Rodgers at my 2nd.
Yeah.
Rodgers is no longer at 2nd. He's completely off the grid.
Look at who we had the top quarterbacks. We had Rodgers,
I can't
Brady, out. Like, you know, I mean, and then you had I forgot who the other ones were, but like you've got Bengals and Chiefs, and so if you're ranking your quarterbacks right now, you got Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Garoppolo, and Stafford. Like, they. I mean, obviously,
Garoppolo's my 4th.
You got Mahomes will be everybody's one, right?
Right.
And Garoppolo will be 4. Like,
so
that's done.
Toss up between Burrow and Stafford.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
You know, it's after watching what Kansas City did, if they can keep that momentum going into this game, which is hard to do, I don't know if I can bet against Mahomes because that guy,
It's hard.
He was on a different level. Hopefully he carries that over, and his brother and his wife didn't embarrass him wherever.
It's also really this is another stat going against them. It's really hard to make 3 Super Bowls in a row. It's almost impossible.
Now we're looking at 4.
Well, this
right?
would be 3 in a row.
Sorry,
This would be 3 in a row.
My bad. Sorry.
And they're playing their 4th divisional championship game.
That's
now.
right.
And so, man, I just think odds are against
Against
them.
them.
Like
Yeah.
I really do. Like,
The
it's just-
football gods are kind of
Yeah, it's like
you
I mean,
can't get,
3 straight Super Bowls.
I mean, Brady
dude.
couldn't even
That
really
would
do
put him if
better
he
in
makes
his
this
career.
like and also, if he makes the Super Bowl this year, he's already a Hall of Famer.
How many years did Brady go when they did their the last
I'll have
in
to
the
look
early
up
his career? I
Brady's.
think it was like what 4 or 5 years.
No, not in a row.
No. How long did it take to get his third?
Oh, to get his third?
Yeah,
Oh,
the
it was a
third.
long time.
Long time.
A really long time.
Lot of weird
he
things
got his
happen.
first and his second year. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of strength. That's what I'm saying. Like, you never know.
You
Like,
never know.
Mahomes could get injured in this game. God forbid he doesn't. Like, I don't want that. But, man, to make 3 straight Super Bowls,
Yeah.
a lot of things need to go your way.
Right.
A
lot
lot.
of things.
So-
And it's not that easy, guys. That's
No.
the thing. And so I don't. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be
Interesting.
fun. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
very, very interesting.
Hopefully, I won't watch it in bed.
Hey, right? Yeah. We'll see what happens, man. But I think that game's going to be
2 p.m. No,
Ah,
idea.
man, I don't know. Well, we'll see, man. But this is our last show before the games on Sunday, so I'm nervous.
I'm so nervous. I'm starting to sweat. My
Well, because
palms
I
are
want to
sweaty.
bet on these games,
Yeah.
like I do.
Oh.
But you know what I'm gonna do?
We need a
I'm gonna take-
GoFundMe account for us to bet on these games.
I'm gonna do prop bets. I'm gonna look at the prop bets
Okay.
on these games, and I think Rachel said yesterday she took Derrick Henry to score the first touchdown in that game, and she won like $150 off.
Off a dollar?
Yeah, like it was something like that. But this might be a fun game, both of them, to do prop bets.
Prop
on.
bets, yeah.
That way you're not leaning on one of these teams
Winning or
because
losing.
every week there's been an upset, man.
Yeah.
Like Brady's gone, Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Yeah.
Like wow, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They would not surprise me if next week on Monday Pat Mahomes is gone.
Who do you think scores the first
Out
touchdown?
of all these quarterbacks, you watch, it's going to be Joe Burrow versus Jimmy
Garoppolo.
Garoppolo. Dude, you're going to be like, how in the hell did that happen?
Jeff said it. Jeff said it.
Yeah, and then people are going to be pissed off, and it's actually probably going to be a really good Super Bowl. But I think any matchups, really, I do. I like any matchups with any of these teams for the Super Bowl. I do. I think it's fantastic. If you do Bengals 49ers, it's an old school rivalry, old school matchup, be fun. Rams Chiefs, that's what everybody wants.
Yeah. Everybody wants. I was about to say TV wants Rams Chiefs. Everybody wants Rams Chiefs. Watch, we're gonna get Bengals and 49ers.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Watch. Just
I mean-
because it's like, oh, the Rams, Stafford's going to lay an egg, and Mahomes is going to throw 2 picks.
Hey, but you know what? Look, the
Garoppolo's going to have it's like 140 yards passing with an interception and win again, dude. He hasn't thrown a touchdown in the playoffs.
Well, in I think that's by design because they don't want
Yeah,
him
of
to
course.
lose the game,
Yeah.
right? But Bengals fans they travel really good. So
Kevin Anthony just said
Think of
Mixon scores first. See, that's a good prop bet.
That is a good prop.
That's a great prop bet. I'd love to look up the odds on that. And that's what I'm saying. As far as like the over/unders at 54.5 for the Bengals Chiefs and 46 for Niners and Rams. And these games are so close that instead of doing that, just start almost like fantasy football. Do prop bets and root for players.
yeah,
on these games.
Yeah,
Like, 'cause
absolutely.
instead of,
it
like,
keeps
rooting
you in
for a
the
team.
game, and
Yeah.
you're not solely disappointed at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Like-
lost,
Yeah, and it keeps you like through the whole
and
game.
then you blame it on a player.
Yeah, Jamar Chase would be a good prop bet for scoring first touchdown. There's a bunch, man. There's a lot of them. Those prop bets are very interesting, and that's what everybody does in a Super Bowl. That's why it's high, the number one gambling day. Because there's so many prop bets, coin toss, all that stuff, man. But on this type of weekend with these teams, prop bets.
Prop bets.
All right, 49ers at the Rams. You're liking the Rams on this. And I'm telling you, this is an awkward 49ers team for the Rams. It's been shown.
Yep.
They've lost twice to them this year already. Man, I really, man, Garoppolo, as much as people hate him, he's already been to one Super Bowl. He is
Yeah.
not phased.
Yeah. Like my brother says, all he does is win, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right. He and I get a little back and forth on text. And he's like, all he does is win, Mike. I'm like, God.
It's true. It's
What am I
crazy.
supposed to say
Yeah.
after that?
I mean, it's just wild. Garoppolo's he's already been in a Super Bowl.
Already been there.
And I've got
It's hard to they were bad A that year. They got
Yeah,
to
they
this-
were really
and then
good.
everybody's like, oh, he's gonna be like that next year, and then kind of pooped the bed.
Yeah, dude,
But
he
now,
really fell
I mean,
off.
so maybe there is something that we don't know about Garoppolo, and maybe we're just buying into the narrative that we hear, and they're just waiting to unleash him again. I don't know.
I
There's
mean,
something. Like all he does is win.
people.
He does have kettle though.
I just if there's a catch game in this weekend's, this is it. Minus
Yeah.
3.5. Something's weird. Vegas knows something. That
They-
is weird, man.
Vegas always knows something.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, because they put it at minus 3.5. I bet you 80% of the bets have LA minus
Yeah.
3.5. Like they're like, oh, let's go blow them out.
You think it'll be 3.5?
They just beat the Cowboys in Jerry World and the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau.
And it was cold. 1 degree.
You can't tell me that the Rams Stadium's more vital or more loud
Right.
or more like worse to go into when it's going to be half San Francisco anyways than Jerry World. That atmosphere was ridiculous.
Yep.
And then in Lambeau, they won in both of them. This is a cakewalk going into L.A.
They're back home.
Yeah, I mean, it's
right down the street.
like, and that's what I'm
well,
saying.
maybe that's what is the factor why they
Vegas?
don't win is because it's too easy for
That
them.
maybe too easy. I don't know, man. Elijah Mitchell, that run game and that defense, they just look beast. A big if for San Francisco is Trent Williams, their offensive tackle, man.
Yeah, he looked hurt.
So
hobbling.
that's a huge blow for them if he can't go. So
and I think the right tackle also.
He didn't practice today. I know that.
Okay.
Everybody else practiced. So
Dude,
Trent Williams is huge.
they're gonna shoot him up with everything known to Jesus.
Man, I'm excited for this weekend,
Yeah.
dude. Wow. After
Are you
last
gonna
weekend,
get? So you're gonna have the kids. You're gonna be able to get out and take them.
dude, when Sunday,
get them fired
when
up.
Sunday comes up, they're like, they know, leave me the
Leave
F
the F
alone,
alone.
man. They know. Like, I have my man cave set up in my
Yeah.
garage, and they're just like,
See ya.
leave Dad alone.
Nah.
My daughter will get me a drink every now and then, She'll be like, are you empty? It's Truly's, right? So I can't drink beer. I just said that on air, my bad. Oops. That sounds terrible. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I doubt I'll drink this Sunday. I'm just waiting on Super Bowl. By the way, got some breaking Super Bowl news to send to y'all on Monday about where we're going to be on Super Bowl Sunday live. So that's going to be real interesting. A lot of fun. All right, man, final picks from Mike Scarborough. Bengals, Chiefs. What you got?
You mean the game for the game?
Yes.
I'm going Bengals and I'm going Rams.
You're taking Bengals plus the 7,
Yep.
Rams minus the 3.5.
Yep.
All right. Y'all think I'm crazy? It is going to be a Bengals 49ers Super Bowl. I just, man, with the way the season's been, this would make complete sense.
Yep, it would. It's been a little wompy, a little crazy, a little this, a
All
little
the
that.
weirdest games. Jacksonville beating the Colts at the end of the season.
Yeah. But hasn't it been like that even in your personal lives right now? It's a little bit different. Everything is a little different this year. It's a little. I don't know if we're getting out of that coma from COVID or whatever, and we don't know how to act anymore. But the football season is kind of like how
man.
life has been.
Well,
in my opinion, just for me.
I'm glad football is the way it is right
Yeah.
now, man. These games have been phenomenal. It's bringing a lot of people back to
Yeah.
sports, and you have. Look, man, people forget that we didn't have crowds in stadiums for the longest times, man. And now you have these fans
Yeah.
back in these stadiums and making impacts, and it's phenomenal to watch,
Yeah.
man. And I'm sorry for the Kansas City fans. They got sprayed by champagne by Pat Mahomes' wife. That was embarrassing.
I mean, come on. Why do you got to do that?
She was happy. But, man, it's great to have fans back
Yeah.
in the stadiums in all sports, man, in all sports, and for them to see these moments, man. There's nothing like if that game last weekend, the Bills-Chiefs game would have been played with no fans. It would have been miserable.
Nothing. Yeah.
But this is unbelievable,
Yeah.
man. So
It's part of the
fans
atmosphere.
in
It's part of the game.
bars and getting to go out
Yeah.
and be around friends and
Yeah.
do what we're doing and talking sports, man.
Yeah.
It's great.
Absolutely.
Want to thank y'all for joining us on Sports with Balls, man. It's been awesome to have Mike Scarborough, Scarbs, back here again. Hopefully we'll have and see more of him because love your
Scarbs.
insight on everything. Ex-UT player, TCU player as well, man. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We will be back Monday. It's Sports with Balls, y'all.
What's up, Dad, if you're watching?
All right, y'all, let me get to a couple of sponsors. Construction Concepts, changing corporate culture one design at a time. From hospitality, luxury retail, and medical facilities, they can update or create a space that exceeds your expectations. Give them a call, 713-589-2682. That's buildithouston.com. And my boy Roy Stanton over at Hybrid Technologies. Reliability, he's the one you call, man. Phones, cable services, surveillance cameras, cloud servicing for all of your business needs. Roy Stanton is the man. He will hook you up. And as always, Christian's Tailgate. Thank you guys for having us. Incredible food here. You guys, they've got 5 locations all over Houston, Texas. Go visit them. And Fitz, your boy,
Mr.
Corey Fitz. Good luck in Nashville with his roofing company. Man, he's everywhere.
Man, I want to go down there, Nashville.
Corey, give my boy over here a call. I think y'all got each other's number.
All right.
And Brian White, the best phone number in the business. What is it?
500, 5,000.
That's it. You go to jail because you can't take your cell phone. Call him. If you get in a wreck, you can do anything. Call Brian White, 713-500-5000. Real results from a real attorney. This is Sports with Balls. I'm Jeff Michael. This is Mike Scarborough, y'all. We'll see y'all Monday.
Oh, man. That's it? Already?
Cause this is how we do it in that 713. My candy red